All right, thank you so much, Dina. A busy summer, a lot of things happening, a lot to talk about, too. So why not bring in the mayor? John Tory joins us right now, and we're going to start things off. First off, thank you for coming in this morning.
Pleasure.
It has been, like we just said, it's been a really busy summer for you.
Yeah, there's
no
been
time off.
Yeah, and there's a lot of events in the summer which are fun
Sure.
to go to, and but there's also been some things happening. We've got the people that are out of their home from that apartment building. We've had some tragedies happening in the city, so it's just been a busy time. But a big city has a lot of things going on.
Absolutely. Let's begin with the launch yesterday of the Presto 2-hour transfer. And this is it's a game changer for some, especially the ones who are just running quick errands. How do you foresee this playing out for the rest of the transit system, and what other progress can be made?
Well, here's the really important thing. I think that people haven't yet focused on the fact that Toronto is sort of getting into the 21st century, and it took us some time to catch up. But, this card, the Presto card, it is now opening the door to people having more convenient use of the transit system and having access to things like the hop-on, hop-off transfer, where you can get off the system several times in a 2-hour period to pick up your kids or to go shopping. And the adoption rate is at about 25%. So we're doing things to encourage people to get it, but we need to get that adoption rate way up there. And so it's one of those things where we're saying to people, there are real benefits to having a Presto card. Please go get one, because the objective in the end, Melanie, is
to get everyone on, yeah.
Yes, to get away from, if people knew how much it cost and the hassle involved, just think about it for a minute, of collecting all the money and all the tokens. And they're heavy, so they have these heavy-duty trucks that take these big bags of tokens around and stuff like that. It's kind of old-fashioned, to say the least.
Sure.
And it's much more convenient to have this and to be able to sort of load it up with a bit of money and so on. And it allows you to use things like hop-on, hop-off. So the real thing we're trying to get people to do is use Presto and say there are real benefits to that for you. And I think it's going to be good for business. At the coffee shop where you couldn't stop and get a cup of coffee on the way home or on the way to work and not pay twice, it's going to benefit now from having people come by. So
yeah, so as you said, we are behind in some ways when it comes to transit here in a big city of Toronto, but hopefully we move forward from there. Let's talk a little bit about school safety. We are just under a week away. Over a week away, rather, from getting back to school. And you have been pushing a lot in these school safety zones. You're going to see a lot of kids, cars. Everyone's going to get back to normal within a week's time. Where do things stand with these zones?
We've had a dramatic amount of work done over the course of the summer on sort of doing the painting work and putting in the signs. People will have noticed. Literally, I saw the other day, now there are speed numbers written right on the pavement, so as you're driving your car, you see the number to remind you of the speed. People have probably noticed lots of those signs that flash your speed on there. We're going to be experimenting, or what's the word I'm looking for, rolling out the photo radar technology because of a provincial regulation we yet need to have passed. Yet one more example where we have to ask for these things when it should be just ours to do it. But we're nonetheless going to put the photo radar in some school zones and start issuing tickets that don't have a fine on them, just so people know that's coming to school zones to keep kids safe. And so all those things are going to be happening, but there's been a huge amount of work done over the summer at making sure we, put in the paint, put in the signs, put in all those kinds of things. In the end, though, this comes down to, as it always has, school zones or not, people's own behavior. And my understanding is, and I've even seen it a bit, at sort of 8 o'clock in the morning or 8:30 and 3:30 in the afternoon, it's like a sort of roller derby with people sort of driving their cars and trying to get parking spaces. And I get the fact that they're all trying to get their kids at the same time. But we've got to get some order to this and some human behavior that says we're going to place a premium on being careful. And that's true with cyclists and with pedestrians and in school zones. So I hope that as we head into this fall, when people have seen what can happen, by way of tragedies, that, yeah, we're putting in the photo radar and the signs and the paint and all that, but that people have to change their own behavior.
It's the behaviors, for sure. Of course, we have to touch on, you are in campaign mode as well. We had Jennifer Keesmaat on BT on Friday morning. She had some harsh words for you, saying you weren't fit for the job. I'll give you a word here on what you're doing over the next couple months, because we head to the polls in October. Where do you stand in moving into the next couple months and your priorities?
Well, first of all, this personal, description, these kinds of things, to me, I don't, think there's really any place for that. I think I have the time, and so does she, to talk about our positive ideas for the city. And so you're not going to find me going down in that area. And I think what we need to do is flesh out our respective positions on taxes, for example. I've said very clearly what I'm going to do with respect to taxes. She has been much less clear, to say the least. And I think we have to go through and say, all right, I have a transit plan that I got approved by the City Council, got funded by the other governments. It is a plan that consists of various elements, the waterfront transit, the relief line, and so on. And if that's going to be changed by her, then people have to know that, and we have to understand what the consequences are of changing the transit plan when we're in the middle of implementing it. What's that going to do to the other governments in funding? How are we going to have partnerships with the other governments if we're going to be sort of fighting with them in sort of a full sort of nuclear weapons mode? Yeah, we have to stand up for the city, and I've done that, and I will continue to do that. So these are the kinds of things we should be debating, as opposed to kind of personal descriptions of me, which I find half the time amusing, and the other half of the time I'm sort of puzzled by them, because this was a person that I worked with at City Hall, and we enjoyed working together. I benefited from working with her, and she did, I think, from working with me. And at one point, she even endorsed me, and now, all of a sudden, all these words apply to me, these strange adjectives. So, it's politics.
So it's politics.
It's politics,
yes.
yeah.
All right, 2 months to go. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Molly.
your time today. All right, we're going to take a look at your top stories today.